The flea market was full of old treasures, forgotten objects waiting to be discovered. Sarah wasn't looking for anything in particular, just wandering between stalls when she spotted it. A small antique pocket watch with an intricate silver casing. Something about it caught her attention. "How much for this?" she asked the elderly vendor. The man glanced at the watch and hesitated. "That one? I'll give it to you for free." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Why?" The vendor sighed. "Let's just say it's better off with someone else." Curious but undeterred, she took the watch and thanked him. As she walked home, she flipped open the cover and frowned. The watch wasn't displaying the time, it was counting down. 14:37:9. "What the?" she muttered. The numbers continued to tick backward, second by second. At first, she assumed it was broken, but something about the smooth movement of the hands told her otherwise. That evening, she set the watch on her nightstand. The countdown had now reached 12:05:32. Midnight approached, and a strange unease settled over her. She fell asleep watching the numbers change. At exactly 00:00, Sarah jolted awake to the sound of distant thunder. Her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Look outside!" Her heart pounded. She hesitated, but curiosity won over fear. She tiptoed to the window and pulled back the curtain. The street was empty except for a single figure standing beneath the street lamp. The moment her eyes locked onto them, the watch vibrated violently on the nightstand. Sarah stepped back, trembling. A second later, her phone buzzed again. "You shouldn't have looked." Her blood ran cold. The next morning, she convinced herself it was a prank, some elaborate trick, maybe a coincidence. But the watch had reset. A new countdown had begun, 23:59:59. Over the next few days, she tested it. Each time the countdown hit 0, something happened. Once, her power went out precisely as the final second ticked away. Another time, a glass shattered in her kitchen for no reason. But the worst was on the 4th day. She had set up her phone to record the moment the countdown ended. When she checked the footage, her breath caught in her throat. As the clock struck 0, her reflection in the mirror smiled at her. Sarah hadn't been smiling. By now, she was desperate to get rid of the watch. She returned to the flea market, searching for the old vendor, but his stall was empty. Asking around, no one seemed to remember him. That night, the countdown approached 0 again. She locked the watch in a drawer, trying to ignore it. But as the final seconds ticked away, a loud knock echoed through her apartment. Knock, knock, knock. Sarah's breath hitched. She didn't move. Knock, knock, knock. Her phone buzzed with another message. "Time's up." And then the door handle started turning. The handle rattled, but the door remained shut. Sarah's breath was shallow as she backed away. After a moment, the knocking stopped. The silence was worse. Minutes passed, then an hour. Nothing. She sat on the floor, staring at the watch, waiting for it to reset again. But it didn't. For the first time, the numbers were frozen at 00:00:00. A new text arrived. "Open the door." Her hands shook. She didn't move. The watch, lifeless in her palm, now felt heavier. Her apartment was small, one way in, one way out. Whatever was behind that door, it was still there. Then she noticed something even worse. The reflection in her TV screen. It showed her sitting on the floor, watch in hand. But behind her, the door was already open, and someone was standing inside. Her blood turned to ice. Slowly, she turned her head toward the door. Nothing. It was still closed, but in the screen, the figure was closer now. Sarah didn't sleep that night. She kept every light on, huddled in a corner of her apartment, watching every shadow move. The watch remained still. No countdown, no ticking, just the eerie silence of something waiting. As dawn approached, exhaustion took over, and her eyes grew heavy. She drifted into an uneasy sleep, only to wake with a jolt to the sound of whispering. The whispers were faint, barely audible, but unmistakable. They came from the nightstand, from the watch. Leaning in, she strained to understand the words. "Time's up! Time's up! Time's up!" The voice was not her own. In a panic, she grabbed the watch and threw it across the room. It hit the wall and fell to the floor, landing face up. The numbers remained frozen at 000000, and then slowly they began to move again. But this time they weren't counting down, they were counting forward. 000001, 00002, 00003. A chill ran through her. What did it mean? Was time starting over? Or was something coming? The knocking returned, louder this time. Bang, bang, bang. Her phone buzzed again. "You ran out of time, Sarah." The lights flickered. The shadows in the room stretched and twisted. The air grew heavy, pressing down on her chest, making it hard to breathe. The handle of the door slowly turned, not rattling this time, but smoothly, deliberately. With her last ounce of courage, she grabbed the watch and hurled it at the door. The impact shattered the casing, gears and glass scattering across the floor. The knocking stopped. For a long moment there was silence. Then a single chime rang through the apartment. The watch's remains vibrated once and then went still. The shadows retreated. The air lightened. Sarah exhaled shakily and fell to her knees. She didn't know if it was over or if she had only delayed the inevitable. But one thing was certain. She would never look at a ticking clock the same way again. The next morning, the pieces of the watch were gone. Only the faint outline of a circle remained on the floor where it had shattered. And somewhere, in another flea market stall, a new antique watch sat waiting, counting down for its next owner.